I was appointed to the Recreation Advisory Board in the fall of 1958. At that time, the recreation facility was in the old recreation building on Wayne Road, which is presently the new City Hall building. The director at that time was Angelo DeMario. I was happy to be appointed to the Recreation Advisory Board because I had 3 children, and I knew that they would be involved in the recreation programs, and I wanted to do my share to help. At that time, the facilities were not as adequate as they are at present, and we needed improvements in all areas of the recreation program. At that time, probably the biggest program was the Little League program. We worked to help the department in getting community support and getting the local people who were involved as parents and to give their time and effort to make the programs a better program. Over the years, the programs have developed so that each one has their own association, and they, by this improvement in the involvement of individuals, we were able to come up with the community center which we are at the present time, because each of the groups involved was willing to go out and convince their neighbors and friends that this was a good facility and that it would consolidate the community recreation and activities. It has worked out even better than anyone had anticipated, I believe, because we presently have the rooms booked for as much as a year in advance. There are the Rotary clubs and the various clubs meet here. The various coin clubs, karates, and other activities all have a central place in which they can operate. And of course, the addition of the center gives everyone the facilities to exercise, handball, volleyball, and so on, which is one of the trends that has developed. That everybody is more exercise conscious, and we feel that we have the best facility around to allow them to do this. One of the early phases that I was involved in was back in the village days, we offered to assist in the drainage of the Avondale playfield. We went to the council meeting and convinced them that if they would provide the equipment and the materials, that we would provide the manpower to install the drain and make this a better playfield for the local people. This worked out very well, and the drainage has been worked to this day. I think it's a good example of what can be accomplished if the community will get behind a project and then make it go. These are just a few of the examples. I have I've always enjoyed my time on the Recreation Advisory Board, and one of these years it probably will I won't be here, but there will be other people that will do the job probably better than I. But it is an area that we do give support to the department and our advisory board to the city council, and we feel that we do fill a function. We review the fees and structures. One of the reasons that we feel is that I think that probably our juvenile delinquency problems are better because of a good recreation program, and with the hockey programs that are available and the figure skating, the numbers of kids that we have in these various programs, the after-school program with the schools, the little leagues, and all of these things are a means of the youth having something constructive to do, as opposed to being able to get involved in things that are not constructive. This is basically, we're hoping to come up with a field house and continually improve our facilities and programs. The associations have worked very well. We work in conjunction with them, and we feel that this is the proper way to go. Times change, and we have the Adopted Park program, wherein the various service club is responsible for the given play area or park, and we've tried to be progressive and keep up with the trends in recreation, and we feel that with this facility we've had the international skating exhibitions here, or the meetings, and everyone who has comes in from out of state or out of the country says that we have an excellent facility, and we believe we do. Well, I guess you would have to say, of course, that when we started, it was a very small program, and Angelo DiMario, the director, in fact used to have to scrounge around and get donations from merchants to purchase T-shirts and things for the various, maybe a backstop or something of this nature. And now we, of course, have a budget that's maybe 100 times bigger than it was when I was first on the board in 1958. It has grown greatly because of the participation of the various associations and the support of the community. And I think that by making the community aware of the approach, or I mean of the facilities and the programs that are available, then they in turn will support you better. Well, I guess that as times change, of course, one of the, if you're talking old facility, probably the hockey program is one of the biggest examples, or the skating itself, the ice skating. Originally, the ice skating rink was back of the present judges' quarters, and it used to be strictly dependent on the weather. If the weather was good enough, then they could flood the area and freeze it. There was no, it was cold, if it was cold enough to freeze the ice, of course, why usually the weather wasn't that conducive to you had to have a little warming room where they could go in and get warm every so often. Now we have a very nice facility that's not dependent on the weather. We can have a temperature that's comfortable to skate in and or play hockey and watch hockey. Probably two of the big things, and one of the other things at that time was the swimming pool. And this was probably, again, the weather was a big factor in that if it was not warm enough, you could not have the pool operate, or if it was too hot, you could not accommodate all of the people, and so that the revenues that were brought in at that point were very small because the admission to the pool. Now there are so many people with individual pools, and there are the wave pools and so on that people can travel to. We have in our summer program trips to the wave pool, so that the need is not as great as it was back in the early days. And this again is one of the things that, as I say, you have to change your programs to stay with the trends of society. If the need is there, we try to provide for it. If it's not there, or someone else is providing it, we don't try to compete with them. Back at the time that I was appointed, there was not per se a community center. There was a recreation building, but it was not utilized during the day as the present community center is. This building is utilized from early morning until late at night by any number of programs. Today the senior citizens are meeting, and many other groups will be meeting in this building, and at that time there was no central facility for such activities. Everyone had, probably the service clubs met at a restaurant, and they just did not have the availability of a nice facility as they do now. One of the other things that I didn't mention and probably should be mentioned is that any of the citizens who have a question or would like to suggest something should attempt to come to one of our meetings or contact their representative on the Recreation Advisory Board, and so that it can be brought before the board for possible attention. Probably one of the biggest programs in the old days too was a roller skating program that was held on the gym floor of the old recreation building. At the present time, roller skating is not that popular an item, so that this was one of the changes. Ice skating is now much more popular than roller skating, and we have the perfect facility for that. So again, it's a the department, I think, has been very progressive, and we as a board have tried to support that area and as needs change, we have tried to be in the forefront of the need.